As you know, the last few videos I did, I had an animation in the front end of my video, and I asked for comments on it, and I will say that the majority of the people liked it, and I liked it. I thought I was being darn comical, funny in a way, and that's what I was trying to portray. But I have some subscribers that actually have made it a point to let me know that they skipped it completely, or they didn't care for it much. So I am going to be phasing that out again, and just go through my little short clip that I have of me turning a vase and using that, and I think that worked fine. It wasn't an attention getter per se, and I don't think that the animation is what's going to get the subscribers to come to me. I think you guys have been hanging around, and it was just something, a little twist that I did. Not per se that it was going to be something that was going to hold up, but if my viewers are saying, well, I don't like it, or you could leave it out, or whatever, I know that you guys will come whether if it's there or not, but I know that if somebody really doesn't like it, they might not be coming back because they don't like something. So I will be phasing that out, and don't know. I've hesitated for a very long time on doing shout-outs. Not because I don't think that so many of you deserve it, but because I always figured if you're watching me, you most likely have watched all these other guys out there, other than newcomers that come by. And my focus will be concentrated on newcomers. But today I want to thank a wood turner that has been a huge inspiration, on my creations of my vases. And even though this is the technique that I picked up, I don't think came directly from him, but his faces inspired me to search what it was that he was doing, and I came up with this style, which is a nice style. But Robbie Woodturner, now he does a lot of vases, he does a lot of off-axis pieces. I mean, he's an amazing woodturner. I don't think that he needs my shout out for you to go out there and watch his channel, because it's Robbie Woodturner. But in the event that you haven't seen his videos, in the slight event you haven't seen his videos, go to his videos. An amazing wood turner and a huge inspiration to what I do. Yes, I have some Brazilian pepper tree, and I have to try all my different wood turnings. So this is a small piece, 6.5, 7 inches length, 4-inch diameter, and it's got some weird branches going up on this side. So I've drilled a hole for my worm screw, gonna mount it onto the lathe, make a tenon on the bottom, flip it over, and make a little bit of a vase out of this one, and see what comes up out of this. It should create a little bit of an interesting piece. Now it's going to be a small vase, nevertheless, but whenever I got pieces of wood with inclusions like this, where it's still attached, but it has these different growth patterns going through, it usually creates something pretty interesting. But one thing that I have to be careful with is the fact that this growth goes almost all the way down to the bottom. I'm not sure if there's going to be a separation of bark, or something that not allow these two branches to bind to each other. So I will be monitoring that as I'm turning. Now, what I've realized is that this wood is extremely resiny, and you can see all the resin coming out of this edge next to the bark, and it's really sticky. So that's one of the drawbacks that I faced with when turning green Brazilian pepper tree. So I'll take it into my truck. And the first thing I'm going to do, of course, as usual, is make a tenon. Oh, there goes one of the branches. So this already is not going to work the way that I wanted it to. This branch came out clear all the way from down here. I'll go a little deeper and I'll keep it as a two-wing and see if the rest of it stays. Now on the single turning, it seems to turn up really nicely. Flapovers here, and it's still on this area and the bark area. I'm going to speed it up and see if I can clean it up. This bark on this wood is very stringy, as you can see, and it's very hard to really get it clean. The wood in itself can be a little stringy too. This should have been a nice clean cut, and it's not. Well, I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to continue with this from the opposite side and see what happens on this area before I finalize this shape anyway. Well, here's its shape starting to take form. I can go a little bit deeper than that, but I'm not going to go much deeper on this area right here. I don't want this vein. Well, I'm going to go a little bit more. I want this actually to come down a little bit further than that. And I'm going to grab a slightly smaller gouge. If you want to maintain the bark, always be ready to apply a little bit of CA in certain problematic areas. In here a little bit and clear this up a little bit higher. These flapovers, there's something you can do to eliminate them. And you can actually cut them off, or you can sand them off. But cutting them off is a good solution to get rid of all these flyaways. Now, if I come over here to this area right here with my gouge, I'm going to create the same problem again. So rather than do that, I'm going to take my 80 grit and work up this profile slightly. Okay, I'm going to leave it and call it good. I'm about 3/4 of an inch from the very bottom, and I still got to work the foot, so I'm pretty sure that I can let that go like that. I'm just going to shear scrape a little bit on this area right here, slim this down slightly. I could still eliminate a little bit here. I got just a little thickness. I mean, it actually comes from the outside, but I'm going to flare this out slightly. Now, I also, now that this is thin, it starts flexing out. So, you know, I have that to contend with. And I want to be right here where that piece of sawdust is at. Now, as I'm going in here with my gouge, I'm looking at the ghost image that I got going through here, and I can pretty much tell how thick I am, and I can see that I'm a little bit thicker once I start getting to this point. Of course, once I get beyond the area that has any openings, that becomes distorted and not accurate, so I can't trust that. But in general, yeah, I can be scraping over here, and I'm seeing the thickness of this image going through here as a constant reminder of how thick I am. And again, I just want to do a little bit, not much at all, right about there. Now, of course, there's always a danger of you popping out the bark on this. But I'm in good shape other than this transition here. So I'll put a little CA here, and I will sand these fibers that are flapped up over the bark area right here. To the bark, even if it's not loose, we'll stiffen up all these fibers. and it will make it easier on the sanding for you, and it will almost guarantee you that you will be able to keep that bark. And that should be pretty good. I'm not going to saturate the whole piece. I just want to keep all these crisp edges that are going through here throughout the whole bark area. Now on the camera this wing looks very long and upside, and that's the angle of the camera. In reality it's fairly small and fairly compact to the rest of the vase. Once I get it down here, it really makes this thing look huge, gigantic. And like I said, and I think that's because I'm shooting it from an up angle on the camera, and not because that's the shape that it is. And from what I see right here, I definitely think that I want to concentrate and seeing exactly what I can do with some other vases. Especially, like I said, if I have interesting character around the edge. Now, as you know, there was a third branch coming out over here, but I lost it at the base over here. But you could see that it had bark separating both sides all the way down, so it was going to be a very, even if it stood, this piece was going to be somewhat separated, but it would have brought a wing out here as well, and it would have been an interesting look, a little bit better than what it is. But you know, we deal with whatever comes our way, and whichever way the wood wants to behave. You know, we take every piece of wood that doesn't want to behave the way we do and discard it, then we probably would not be doing all that much turning and getting that many twice pieces in some cases. So you know, it's going to be another rainy day, and I'm going to have to call it quits in a little while because I don't want my lawnmower out there. Well, well, I've wet sanded this with 1200 grit, and after sanding sealer, and now I'm applying the paste wax finish to it. Now I'm somewhat pleased with the design. It's a small vase. I mean, it's small, smaller than what I would want it to be a vase. But like I said, I wanted to see what this Brazilian pepper tree has to offer. And to tell you the truth, I am not disappointed in any way. I don't know if you can see this, but it actually has a purplish hue going through the inside over here. There is not much on the outside whatsoever on that hue that's showing up, but it seems to spalt rather nicely. And like I said, it has a color that I haven't seen on any spalting before, which is this purplish color to it. So, time to remove the foot on this and shape the base on this. So this one is going to be somewhat of a challenge on how I'm going to mount it over here. In this case, I'm going to mount a piece of wood and I'm going to make a jam chuck that fits this. And I'm just going to put it between centers on a friction fit. Here, pretty close to center. Bring my tailstock in. True this up a little bit so I can make it down in the back here. But, it doesn't even matter if it has little square edges. All I want is something that I can put in here and tighten it up. I'm hitting right there on this area. Just break off this little nub. Now this is end grain going in there, so if I break it off I have a chance that it will pull off the fibers from the center of the piece. So you can cut it off. Well, not bad. I mean, not bad. Here it is. Love this bark inclusion that's going all the way down to the bottom. Looks really good. Then I got this half that has this brown work of effect going up to the top. That looks very nice. The finish is not bad. It's got a nice sheen. Nice going through here on the bark area. Really picks it up nicely there. It's got a little bit of character going through there, very little, and of course this area right here, which is really nice. So I got this, and of course I made this bowl, platter, whatever it is that you want to call it, which is somewhat unique, out of the same piece of wood. So I think we're going to be seeing a little bit more of the Brazilian pepper tree in my shop. Hopefully it's a little bit better selected logs, pieces that I might actually look for and cut it up rather than just grabbing anything just to see if it works. It's heavy. It's heavy on weight. I know that this is a little bit thicker than I normally like to keep these things, but this really did take quite a beating to get it thin enough, and the bark becomes very stringy. You can't cut the bark and get a clean cut on it. It just fibers all up. So I didn't want to keep pushing my luck and then start losing whole pieces of bark. I kept it where I thought it was acceptable, and it is acceptable piece. Now, a lot of blotching on this wood, but this wood, even though it was still growing, this top piece had been exposed to weather quite a bit, and it was all blackened up, and of course moisture starts working inside. So I know that's what happened with this. This is from the same piece, but it was slightly further down, so therefore the moisture didn't get quite as much as this. But I think where it was closer to the outside or whatever, closer to the cut, I think that might be where that brown starts coming in, or these spalting areas that are going through here. But anyway, yeah, that's it. I mean, you know, it's not bad. It has some interesting areas of character. I love this. I gotta admit, I do like the vase. Again, it becomes one of those vases that the shape is somewhat unique. And this combination, you know something, it's a pretty set for whatever it gets used for. I think that I will display this as one piece. Winged base, winged vase. And that's what it is. If you are watching and you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and you'll be updated with many unique wood turnings that I do. If you like what you see, give me a thumbs up, and the most important thing is leave a comment. Your comments are the key things behind everything, because your comments are the only things that will let us know whether we're doing good or we need to improve on areas. And if we don't hear from you, and you know, we just don't know, and I'll use an example. As you know, the last few videos I did, I had an animation in the front end of my video, and I asked for comments on it, and I will say that the majority of the people liked it, and I liked it. I thought I was being darn comical, you know, funny in a way, and that's what I was trying to portray. But I have some subscribers that actually have made it a point to let me know that they skipped it completely, or they didn't care for it much. So I am going to be phasing that out again, and just go through my little short clip that I have of me turning a vase and using that, and I think that worked fine. It wasn't an attention getter per se, and I don't think that the animation is what's going to get the subscribers to come to me. I think you guys have been hanging around, and it was just something, a little twist that I did. Not per se that it was going to be something that was going to hold up, but if my viewers are saying, well, you know, I don't like it, or you know, you could leave it out, or whatever, you know, I know that you guys will come whether if it's there or not, but I know that if somebody really doesn't like it, they might not be coming back because they don't like something. Well, thank you very much, and today is Thursday. This will be uploaded, will be Friday. So I can say, have a wonderful weekend. Thank you. Take care.